Carolina OpTic. Man, this is I don't know, like OpTic just they kind of stink. Like they've been really bad. Like this was not a very close series. They lost by over 100 in hardpoint. They got dominated in search and destroy, and then they lose control, and they lose round 5 on defense, which is pretty crazy. And now, like, not only are they, this is their only match this week, so they go winless this week. They went winless last week as well, not once but twice. So they're 0-3 in matches and 0-9 in map count so far in the Major 2 qualifiers. And now they have to kind of sit on that for a week because we have the minor next week. So those matches don't count toward the qualifier standings. And they are very much in danger of starting Major 2 in the losers bracket, which is not what you want to hear, especially because I believe they're hosting Major 2. So there's a possibility that they could get first rounded, and at least they don't have to drive very far back home if they do get first rounded. But they're in a very bad state, and I'm shocked by that. I saw people basically dancing on OpTic's grave on Twitter after this, saying like that's what you get for dropping Hook. I don't feel as strongly about that, but I'm still stunned that. Like, I could understand if they came out flat and it took a little bit of time to get back on their feet after a roster change, reintegrating Pred back into this lineup. I did not expect 9 straight losses off the top. I did not expect them to be this out of their depth, basically. What do you think is going wrong, and what do you think this is salvageable soon, or like what can OpTic do in the next week or two to really fix what's going wrong now?
I mean, I think it has to be salvageable just from the sense of, we know what this team's ceiling is. That's winning a world championship and lifting a trophy. We know how talented all the guys on this team are. We know the coaching staff behind them and JP and Karma. Like, we know they got the brains to fix all this. It's just going to come down to putting it all together. And so they have the pieces, but it's just not clicking right now, and something's got to be done. I don't think I put the tweet in here, but I saw it. I think it was Money Hill Stats might have been the one who tweeted it. But it was comparing Atlanta to OpTic. Yeah, so here it is. Atlanta start 0-3 during Major 1 qualifiers, with their third L being a 3-0 sweep by the Ravens. Their next game was against Falcons, and that started their 12-series win streak, which ended with winning Major 1. Texas start 0-3 during Major 2 qualifiers, with their third loss being a sweep by the Ravens. Their next match is against the Falcons. So if OpTic fans want to believe in the similarities there and have some hope, like that's something they can bank on. Maybe this is the start of a magical run for this squad. But I do think that's the silver lining here for OpTic, is their next match is against Vegas Falcons. And if they lose to Vegas Falcons, then I think that is the ultimate red flag, just based on everything we've seen from Vegas this year. That would be like, obviously there are definitely Greenwell fans who are concerned at this point with the 09 map count since Pred's return. But if they aren't able to get it done against Vegas, like that's like, it's going to be time to start having some serious conversations about this team and what they got to do and potential roster changes, yada, yada. But I do think, maybe the minor will be, the change of pace that they need. So similar to Atlanta, like Atlanta won that minor and they went on a run after that. And maybe it was just like the quote unquote tournament environment or something that like got Atlanta, like, kicking into gear, however you want to phrase it. Maybe that same thing can happen here with this, OpTic team. Like I said, we know what they're capable of. We know how much talent they have. It's just nothing's been working right now and going their way. Credit to Carolina here too for getting the job done. I'm pretty sure I saw obviously it was a different roster at minor 1, but I believe this is 12 straight maps that they lost. And I'm pretty sure, because I mentioned it last episode, since Carolina eliminated OpTic at Major one, OpTic won their only hard point of the tournament against Carolina in map one. Then Carolina won 3 maps in a row to win 3-1. And then it's these 9 maps in a row. And I believe the map one that OpTic won, it was like a 2-point game or a 5-point game on protocol hardpoint. I'm pretty sure it was on protocol, which is the hardpoint that they played here. And Carolina wins this one by 110 points. So that's like, the one map Carolina has won, or sorry, the one map OpTic has won in their last 4 series. They also lose in this one with a different roster. That's, it is what it is. That's just a stat. If it is true, I'm pretty sure it is. But the other thing, the red card search wasn't close. Like they were just, it felt like, Carolina was in complete control. I'm pretty sure, Carolina, it was a 6-1, and Carolina had first blood in 6 of the 7 rounds. So, when you're playing against a structured S&D team, as we expect Carolina to be, they get first blood, they're going to capitalize on it and, make the plays and, try and force out situations that favor them when they have a man advantage. But also just got to shout out TJ, because TJ seems to be the OpTic Reaper this year when they've played him. I know when we mentioned it at Major 1, he played really well against OpTic, and again, he had a 1.54 KD in this series, and I think it was a graphic either on the Scump Watch Party or the CDL broadcast showing like TJ against Pred. I think it was 6-2 or 7-2 record heading into this series. So somewhere around there, TJ is played pretty well against Pred, which is funny because I mentioned it either last episode or one ago. Like those are 2 guys in that like 2K group that plays NBA 2K sometimes off on stream, and it's good entertainment. So they're close friends, but obviously that matchup's gone TJ's way so far this year and historically so far, which is interesting.
I was just looking it up. OpTic has lost 7 of their last 8 hardpoint maps. Dating back to the beginning of Major 1, they lost both hardpoints to both Miami and LAG at Major 1. Yep. Then, like you said, they beat Carolina in that first hardpoint. They lost in the second hardpoint, and they've lost everyone since then. Granted, there's only been 3 in these qualifiers, but still 7 of the last 8, which is across 2 of the roster iterations now, of course, with Hook in the Major 1 roster, and then since then with Pred. That's just shocking. Like, this is a team, and we've talked about this plenty, how OpTic traditionally is a respawn heavy team, a lot of times simply because they have so much slaying power on that given roster that they can just overwhelm teams and just kind of double up and just demolish them just with how much killing they're doing. And it just, even with Hook in, even with Pred in, it hasn't seemed to matter much recently, and that's concerning. I do agree with you. If they do lose the Vegas roster change, we're bringing someone in. Like, there's just no way that could continue. I don't know if they would want to continue with that roster, because I could only imagine the turmoil that would be within that team, because Vegas hasn't even gone to a game 5 so far this season. I don't believe they've won 2 maps in a series so far this season. I think they've maybe won 5 maps total this entire year. So they would basically nearly
won a hard point. It makes sense.
Yeah, they've so literally they would almost be doubling their map win loss if they were able to win a series. And I don't think it's happening. Like, I want to say that off the bat. I don't think that OpTic is going to lose to Vegas. But if it did happen, if Vegas were to eliminate OpTic Texas from the first round of the minor, I do believe OpTic Texas would be making a roster change very swiftly. I don't know who it would be. I don't know who's out, who's in. I would imagine Kenny's out, just like because that's been the conversation like around the team, I guess, over the last few weeks. But that would just be insane. And I thought about this after I watched the Carolina match this week, and I literally thought after they lost, I was like, man, they really stink. I'm fully expecting them to win Major 2 now. Like, this is like the OpTic Texas experience. Like, they are up and they're super up, and then they're down and they're super down. And right now they're super down. They're at one of the lowest points that I can remember for this team in the CDL era. And we talked about exactly that right before champs last season. They were at an incredibly low point, and then they went on to win Call of Duty League Championship. So I'm expecting them to win Major 2. And it's probably an uphill battle. It's probably going to not look like possible for the bracket, especially if they start in the losers bracket, which means that they're going to have to go through whatever 7-8 matches just to win that tournament. But they have the talent to do it, and we've seen in the past that they're able to overcome the adversity that they're kind of putting themselves through. So OpTic is in a bad way, but I fully expect them to rebound like they always have in the past.